Hey guys, thanks for checking in. We're going to start down on our mats today, and then we're also going to be using the red ball again this week. So if you don't have one, that's fine. A couple people have asked about them. They're made by Spri, S-P-R-I, and you can go right to the Spri website, or you can get them on Amazon too. It's called a sponge ball, and there are a couple different makers out there. One is, there's a bender ball, so you could Google that too probably, but I think these are the cheapest ones that I could find. And again, it's a sponge ball made by Spri, S-P-R-I. All right, so work your way down to your mat. We're not going to use the ball right away, but have it nearby so you can grab it. You can grab it when it's time. So we're going to start by laying right down on the mat. So I want you to either roll yourself down or just however you want to get yourself down to the bottom. And then we're going to keep our knees and feet bent, feet flat on the mat. And then just let your shoulders relax. Feel like your chest is kind of opening. We're going to let our arms relax down on the mat. So wherever they land for you, if you want them a little wider, that's fine. If you want to rotate them so palms are up, palms can be down, doesn't matter. So just going to kind of relax down into the mat. And when we're in neutral spine and neutral pelvis, we feel the tailbone weighted down on the mat, and then the back of the rib cage, and then the back of the head. So we've got some space in two of the curves of our spine, the lumbar curve, like the lower back, and then back behind our neck, which is the cervical curve. So we just want to keep those curves and let our spines relax down. Kind of feel heavy and weighted on the mat. And then we're going to start by doing some pelvic tilts. So with the pelvis in neutral, that space I was just talking about behind the low back, we're going to feel that there. And when we go into a pelvic tilt, we drop that space down into the mat and we create some pressure on the back waistband of our pants. So we've taken that space out. The pelvis tilts, and then we release it back into neutral. So we're going to do a few of those. Just some little tilts. You don't need to just squeeze your glutes really tight and jam your back down into the mat. It's more of a stretching into the low back. And I was thinking about some of these stretches we do, and we have a really great opportunity to get some stretching first thing in the morning when we're still in bed. So you're already there, you're laying down. So these are some stretches you can do just starting your day. There's no reason why you can't do them while you're still in bed. Okay, so you're gonna do a couple more tilts. Just feel the muscles of the lower abdominals starting to engage to sort of pull the pelvis into that tilt. And then we're gonna come right back to neutral. And with our arms still relaxed at our sides, we're gonna work into now the cervical spine, the neck. So let's let our heads roll to the side. It doesn't matter which side. We're gonna get to go to both. So wherever that is for you, don't force this range of motion. We're just reaching into the neck. And then let your face come through center and take it over to the other side. And you might notice one side tighter than the other. Happens to most of us. Now we're going to come through center. So we're going to do this a couple times. And through center again, other side. And while you're doing this, think about that pelvis again. The tailbone is weighted, so you're working in neutral spine. You just kind of lined yourself up down along the mat. And once more. And then we're going to come back to center. Okay, so that was rotation. So now we're going to get some flexion in the neck. So think about bringing your chin toward your chest. And then raising back up. And then come through center, and it's kind of like you're going to look back behind you. And then go through that full range again. If you've got a ponytail in your hair, it's probably getting a little messed up right now. That's okay. And then come through center. And then when the chin comes down, imagine stretching out the back of your neck, like you're taking all of the creases out of the back of your neck. And it's okay to make a double chin. No one will see you, although you could probably see mine. And then we're going to come through center and look back overhead. And then right back to where we started. Okay, we're going to go into some bridging. So we're going to get the rest of our spine involved. So we're going to start with that pelvic tilt. We're lowering the waistband, lumbar spine to the mat. We're going to press evenly into both feet, and we're going to roll right up into bridge. And then at the top here, we're just going to hold for a second. Just check in with some of your muscle groups. So the back line of your body, the glutes, the hips back there, the low back, everything's working. Glutes can be squeezed. We're pressing evenly into both feet. Big toes are connected to the mat. Little toes are connected to the mat. And then we're going to roll ourselves down, starting right between the shoulder blades. Picture laying your spine down on the mat,
one piece at a time, and then you come through lumbar spine, and then pelvis comes right back to neutral, and then we're going again. So there's not a whole lot of movement in the upper part of your body. You might get a little as you adjust right back into neutral, but for the most part, once the spine comes down onto the mat, it kind of stays there, and come back through neutral. Let's go one more time. And we're rolling up, even pressure into both feet, and then we come up. So at the top here, let's just stay for a second and give those glutes a little bit more of a squeeze. So you feel the back body really kicking in now, and imagine the front line of the body stretching forward down toward the end of your mat. You've got a nice diagonal coming from the shoulders through the hips and out the knees. I'm just gonna pause here for a second. Get centered, press down into both feet evenly still, and then we're gonna take our arms up and over for a big stretch back here. And let your arms reach along the floor. And then as that happens, maybe your hips can come up a little higher. Try not to really overarch at the rib cage, upper back. Just stay connected in the front line of the body. And then we'll take our arms to the ceiling again and all the way back down to the mat. And then we'll roll our spines down. We're gonna do that one more time. We're gonna flow right into it. So when we come into neutral, we roll it again. Feel the lower abdominals engage, roll it up, even pressure both feet, legs nice and steady. And then your arms come up and over, all the way to the floor in the back, if that's feeling okay with your shoulder. If that's too much, you can leave your arms at your sides, or you can take them just up to the ceiling. That's okay too. And then roll it right back down. Leaving the arms back. I forgot to cue that. Okay, so the arms are gonna stay up overhead. And then we're gonna reach the arms a little bit longer, get long through that body. Now straighten your legs out along your mat and bring them together. So with the arms overhead, we're gonna add a little side bend here. So I want you to hold onto your right wrist with your left hand, and then side bend over to the left. So side flexion. And our spines are supported since we're laying down on the floor. So you can go as far as it feels comfortable for you, and then stretch your right leg a little longer. You're creating more distance between the toes on the right foot and the fingers on the right hand. And your body's gonna come back to center, and we're gonna switch our hands. Hold the left wrist, side bend to the right, stretch your left leg a little bit longer. Nice, and then come on back to center. We're gonna raise our arms, bring them down to our sides. So let's bend our knees again and bring them right in toward our hips. Set your feet up so they're about hip distance apart. We're gonna do a little sequence called hip opener. So I'm sort of thinking that this whole sequence you can do in bed. But of course you don't have to. You can do it anytime during the day. But in the morning, we're already laying down, we may as well. So this is gonna get the movement or the muscles in the hips kind of warmed up, get some rotation, get some extension. So what we're gonna do is bring the pelvis back to neutral. Try our best to hold it there. Let your left knee open out to the side. So you feel your bottom of your left foot kind of peel off the mat. And we're just gonna pause here for a second. So that knee coming out pulls the hips over to that side. I want you to use your core to kind of keep the hips from doing that. So already you're engaging, and then you're gonna slide your leg out along the mat, stretch it out, let it rotate so the knee and your toes point to the ceiling, and draw it back in. We're gonna do just 3 in this direction. So we're stretching out, lengthening, and pull it back in. So first, here comes our rotation, and then our extension, then we rotate back, and we pull in. Now let's reverse. Slide that leg along the mat, and rotate out. Let the heel kind of float in toward the hip, and then we're back where we started. 2 more. Trying to keep the pelvis still so your hips aren't flying around. And then around. Okay, little pause to regroup here. Get your pelvis into neutral if it has kind of come out of that position. Now we're gonna let the right knee open out to the side, feeling the bottom of the right foot peel off the mat a little bit. Using our core, using the muscles around the hips to stop it from just flopping to the side. And then we slide it out, let it rotate, toes and knee to the ceiling, and then pull back in. 2 more in that direction. And then just kind of think about your breath. Breathe evenly. Get a full inhale and a full exhale. And now we'll reverse. We slide it out. Rotate and bring it back. 2 more. Good, and back where we started. Okay, so I want to get ourselves up to a seated position. So you can take your hands back behind your thighs if you want. You can walk your feet out, use your arms to pull yourself up, and then we're going to come right up to the top. Now we're going to use the red ball. So continuing with some stretches. You probably don't have one of these in bed. If you do, that's up to you. but we are gonna put that behind our shoulders, kind of shoulder, base of the shoulder blade area, and feet flat, knees hip width apart. Take your hands, stack them behind your head, and then we are gonna come up and over the ball. So here is our extension. So this, we've done this a couple times in this series, and it's a really nice stretch to do, taking a break from sitting at your screen all day. So if you're gonna take a break, this is a great thing. If you are at the end of your workday and you wanna just kind of get some stretches going, this is a really nice one to do. All right, so from here, I want you to feel like you're drawing your ribs together in the front, and then you're gonna lift your chest and come forward. And then come up and over. Let's do that again. Feel your elbows open out to the sides, just stretching into your back. Now let your hands do some work back there. Let them help support your head. If you have the range and the size of your ball allows it, maybe you can take your head all the way to the mat. Don't force it, just find something that's gonna work for you. And then we're gonna bring our chins toward our chest, not unlike what we did with that stretch earlier. And then we'll raise our chests. Now hold here. I want you to take your arms to the ceiling and then reach them forward so that they're about shoulder height. Walk your feet away from you a little bit. We're gonna start curving our spines, reaching our chests toward the legs, and then we're gonna come up to a seated position. We're gonna take the ball, put it at our thighs, line your feet up with the edge of your mat, give the ball a squeeze, and hands are gonna be on our shins. Okay, so we got the leg muscles working. We're hitting inner thighs and hips by squeezing the ball together, squeezing our legs into the ball. And then we're gonna roll away from that ball, rounding our spines, and pause. Let's take our arms to shoulder height, shoulders come down, and we're gonna open our arms out to the sides and bring them to the front. Let's do a couple more of those. So I'm thinking of keeping my big toes anchored into the mat and keeping that squeeze on the ball. So you're just gonna open and close. Let's go 2 more. And the next time our arms are in the front, we're gonna draw the bellies in, we're gonna roll forward and lift. Let's do that again. Squeeze the ball, anchor your feet, roll back, our shoulders are relaxed, and then we open and close for 5. Keeping that bend in our spine. Great, 1 more. Arms come forward and lift. We're gonna go back again and change the arm sequence. So settle in, find a spot that you know that your core can support you. If you feel any strain in the low back, bring yourself forward a little, it's okay. So if that, where you chose for those first 2 sequences felt pretty good, pretty easy, maybe challenge yourself to go a little farther, but you definitely want to have those hips rolled under you. Okay, we're gonna change the arms a little bit. We're gonna raise the right arm toward the ceiling, toward the ear, bring it back down, and now the left. And we're just gonna alternate, right? And left. So we're starting to stretch into the shoulders. If it's uncomfortable for you, make a smaller range of motion, or just leave your arms where you are, or where they are, and then work on the core here instead of adding that arm in. Okay, let's go 1 more each side. I think that's 5. Again, maybe a bonus round for 6, who knows? Arms come forward, we're gonna pull our bellies in, start to round forward, and lift, 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 and back again. So we're definitely getting some core work going. I'm starting to feel it. Gonna hang back here a little bit. If you can roll under and get a little closer to your mat, that's great. If your body's not gonna allow that yet, that's okay too. Squeeze the ball. Let's start with the left arm this time. Left up, and right up, left. Nice, and then 1 more each arm. Reaching forward, draw the belly in, start to curl toward the ball, and then sit up tall, restack your spine, and bring the arms down. We're gonna take the ball and put it back behind our hips now. So straighten out your legs, and then place it back behind your hips. If you've got on workout pants, sometimes even a loose top, you might lose the ball. So you can kind of tuck it in. You may need to move your shirt a little, that's okay. If you don't have the ball, that's all right. Just find a range that's gonna support you, but you don't feel too much gripping in the hip flexors. But the ball does a nice job of supporting the back there. So that's one of the things I like about them. All right, take your arms forward. You're gonna squeeze your legs together. We're gonna pull the belly in. And instead of rolling back into the ball, we're just gonna hinge back into the ball a little bit and come back up. So we've got a straight back, we're hinging and coming up, almost like we're just gonna tap that ball a little bit and then lift away from it. Now get that little hinge back, and we're gonna roll into the ball and round a little bit more. All right, we're gonna take our arms to the ceiling, stack your hands behind your head, and curl forward and curl back. So this is really small. My spine really isn't leaving the ball. I'm actually pushing into the ball in order for my spine to move forward, my chest to curl forward. So the arms over the head add a little extra something. If it's too much, you can keep them out in front of you. Let's do 3 more. Try not to pull on your head. I'm pushing my head back into my hands, give myself a little more support. Now take it back and hold. We're gonna raise our arms to the ceiling. Bring them forward. Now pull the belly in, roll, and lift. Back we go. Roll into the ball and roll forward. So the hips now are rolling under you. No more hinging, just roll, roll. Feel your spine, go onto the ball, and then come back up. We're gonna do a few more like that. It, nice, and lift. Let's go back and hold. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty supported on the ball. If you're way back here and like barely hanging on, curl forward a little and push your hips into the ball. That's gonna give you a little bit more stability. Okay, so from here, we're gonna keep our bodies facing forward and then take your left arm out to the side, not back behind your shoulder. Keep it in your peripheral vision and bring it back in. We're gonna do that same arm. So the left arm comes out and back in. One more like that, and then we're gonna change something. So as the arm comes out, I feel myself start to tip to the left. So we're gonna add a little challenge here. We're gonna raise the left leg a little bit, and then we're gonna take the arm out to the left again. So that makes you stay centered. We're gonna do 3 more here. 3 total for 6. All right, and then bring it out, bring it back in, and then the leg comes down, and we're gonna come up off the ball, roll forward, and then roll back. Okay, so I want you to kind of check in with your body. The first 3, we're gonna keep the right leg down. So abs are in, we're curled forward a little bit, the ball's supporting our back. And then the right arm comes out to the side, keep it in your peripheral, and then bring it back. 2 more like that. Pull the bellies in, stay still. Okay, so here comes a little challenge. Up goes the right leg. You can press your left heel into the mat if you want. And then the right arm comes out, don't tip. Think of that midline right down the middle of your body. Everything's pulling toward that. Of course, not the right arm. And then bring it back in and leg down, hand come forward. All right, we're gonna take the ball out. Just hold on to it with your hands, and we're gonna round over the legs. So let's get a little low back stretch there. And in fact, if the ball stays on your legs, reach your hands, extend your arms and then reach your hands wherever they go. And then just hold on, gently pulling yourself down towards your legs. And then release where you're holding, bring your hands to the mat and roll yourself up and roll the shoulders. Okay, we're gonna put the ball away for now. Want to get some side flexion and some leg extension. So we're gonna come to a kneeling position. If kneeling doesn't work for you, you can do this same sequence standing. I think we've done it in an earlier video, I can't remember. But it's the side extension, and then we're gonna get some movement in our arms. So I'm thinking of keeping my right knee lined up with my right hip and right shoulder, and I'm taking the left leg out to the side. Okay, so I'm thinking of kind of a diagonal here and a straight line here. And then I'm gonna raise my left arm up, and I'm gonna side bend. So I'm now creating a diagonal from the fingertips down the arm, through the hip, and out through the foot, and pulling my abs in. So I'm trying not to rotate. That happens a lot. We kind of start drifting. So I want you to just hold this side bend here. Now let your right arm hang, or left if you're mirroring me, the bottom arm, and then we're gonna rotate so the palm is up, and we're gonna stretch that arm up and bring it up toward the ear, and then come back down. So we've got this side flexion. Reach and lower. Stay really long through the side that's on top. Good. And then one more time. Bring both arms up, reach to the ceiling, bring them down, bring that leg in. Switch legs. take the other leg out. So I forgot to tell you about the setup for this, the leg that's extended out to the side. We want your knee and your foot pointing forward. So we want to take rotation out of it and then be on the, on the side edge of your foot, or if you can rotate it and get it flat, that's fine too. Okay, so here's our long diagonal. We raise the arm up and then we take it out. And just find your balance here. The core is definitely working here. Think of the crown of the head reaching to the ceiling. Let your bottom arm hang. And then we're gonna rotate it and then stretch and lift. So again, if the knees are bothering you, you can do this standing and just do it as a little side bend. Reach and stretch, 2. Think of that top arm being near your ear. Nice. One more. Raise, lift up. Bring it down and bring it in. We're gonna sit back on our heels. Okay, guys, we're gonna go into child's pose and get a little stretch for the low back and then move on to some bit of an ab sequence. I'm gonna turn sideways so you can see what's going on. So my hips are gonna come down to the heels and the chest is gonna come down to the legs. And I'm gonna take my arms way out in front of me. And then just let the chest settle down toward the legs. Your heads can come to the mat. Take a couple breaths. So here's our breathing again that we've been trying to focus on. Getting a nice big inhale and exhale. Try to make it through your nose. As you inhale, feel your back expand to the sides, especially in this position, because we're limiting the range on the front of our bodies by having them against the legs. Okay, we're gonna lift our chests up just so they come off the legs, and we're gonna look out toward our hands. Feel your upper back extend a little bit. Tap into the muscles of the upper back. It's not as much of an extension as when we were over the red ball there, but same muscle group, right? We're extending. From here, we're gonna shift our weight forward, and we're gonna go right into a plank. So your plank can be long arms, or you can be down on elbows and forearms. You can stay on your knees, you can go to your long legs, or you can take it in between. It looks like I forgot my timer again, so it's not gonna be a minute. I don't think so. Okay, so I'm gonna come down to my elbows and forearms, and then I'm gonna slide one leg back, and then the other leg back, and then here we go. So whatever part of your body is touching the mat, push away from the mat. Make the muscles engage. The bellies are lifted. If you need a little bit more stability, you can step your knees, if you're on your knees, you can take them wider. If you're on your toes, you can take them wider. A little bit less intense to have the knees down on the mat. So you find what's gonna work for you today. And I always say it, but it's true, every day is different. So pushing away from the mat, belly's lifting, cores are engaged, and we're breathing. Trying not to let our heads sink down, pushing away, squeezing glutes, squeezing legs, and lifting. Okay, let's lower to the knees, untuck your toes. We're gonna push back into child's pose, so work it back for a nice big stretch. Hips come to the heels, chests come to the legs, foreheads come to the mat. Option to stack your hands. Here's our breathing again. Check in with your back. Feel it expand. Check in with the belly on the exhale. Feel it lift. Okay, let's bring our arms out in front of us if they're not already there. Lift the chest up again. Shoulders down. And then here we go for our side flexion. Left hand off the mat, then the right, then the chest comes down. Stretch the right side. Lift your chest up, walk it through center. Come off the mat to the right, chest down. And breathe. Fill up the left lung. Lift the chest up. Come on back through center.
Back to child's pose. Stretch the arms way out in front of you. Spread out your fingers. Spread out your thumbs. Shift your weight forward to hands and knees, and then swing it around, and we're coming back down to the mat. Okay, legs out in front of us. We're gonna roll it down nice and slow. So as this happens, feel this pelvis roll under you. Imagine placing your spine down one bone at a time. Start up tall, get on your sits bones. Wiggle around if you need to. Bring the arms out front, let your shoulders roll down. Now, because we're going slow, if you need a little assist, just take your hands and put them back behind your thighs. I'm gonna try and do it reaching forward. We'll see. Pull the abs in, sit up tall, start to roll the pelvis under you. So already you feel your lower abdominals drawing in and up. And they're gonna slow this movement down. So you're rounding your spine, drawing the ribs down toward the hips, and then we're gonna place our spines down and let the arms come up overhead for a stretch here. And then let's raise the arms to the ceiling and bring them down to the mat. Leave your left leg where it is. We're gonna flex the left ankle, and we're gonna stretch the right leg and raise it up to the ceiling. Let your shoulders come down. Let your rib cage relax down into the mat. If you want a little more stability for this movement, you can take your arms a little wider than your mat. Okay, we're pointing the right foot. We're gonna take it across the body to the left, pull through center, and go to the right. And left, right. Trying to keep our hips still on this round. Three more. Back to center. We're gonna leave that leg stretching up to the ceiling, and our left leg that's on the mat, we're gonna hover it and point it, and then we're gonna switch the legs, let the right come all the way to the mat, leave the left up. Check in with your pelvis, bring it to neutral, level it out, and then flex your right ankle on the mat, and the left leg comes across to the right and through the middle to the left. All right, then let's bring it back to center. Okay, shoulders are down. Arms reach along your sides. Hover the right leg, and we're gonna go into some scissors here. Nice and slow and controlled. So your bottom leg is reaching and stretching away, but it's not coming all the way to the mat. I want you to find a little hover position and then switch. There's 3, I think. 4. Both legs to the ceiling. Bend them into your chest. Reach for your shins for a little stretch. We're continuing with scissors. That was 5 sets, and we're gonna do a couple different hand positions, flexion positions, so that you can find a challenge in each different level. Okay, so we're gonna have hands on our shins. Bring chins toward the chest, lift the chest up, curl toward your legs. We're gonna use our arms behind our legs for this sequence. So let's leave our right leg where it is, stretch the left leg away from you. Don't take it all the way to the mat, just kind of hover it. Stretch your right leg to the ceiling and hold back behind either the calf or the thigh. We're gonna keep our flexion here, and we're gonna switch. There's 1 set. We're gonna do 5, 2, and 3. Keep your hips anchored. 4, and 5. Now let's hold here. Left leg stretching away, right leg reaching to the ceiling. Transition your hands behind your head. Let them do a little bit of work here. And then we'll go again. 5 sets. And 4. Hold it. Okay, we're gonna give this a little switch. So the right lowers, the left raises, hold. We keep our flexion, or if you need a little break, take it all the way down, or take it down and come back. We're gonna rotate toward that left leg and switch. 5 sets and 4. Left leg is back up. We come center, bend both knees in, and take your shoulders and heads down. You will side rock. There's 1 more set. I forgot. All right, back to center. Maybe I meant to take a break. Bring your chin toward your chest. Come on up into flexion. Let's leave the left leg in. Stretch the right out.
Stretch the left leg to the ceiling. Bring your arms along your sides like 100. Pull your fingers together, stretch your arms, and then here we go from here. 5 sets. I'm way more wobbly with this one. And 2, 2. One more each leg. Both legs up. Reach for your shins and roll it down again. All right, back to center. We're gonna take our feet to the mat, arms way out to the sides. And then from here, just leave your legs here for a second. Hover your arms off the floor, stretch them longer. Turn so your palms are facing the floor if they're not already, and flex your wrists. Spread your thumbs and fingers way out and stretch your arms even longer. So when I do this, I get a little shaky through the arms. It's a great one for the wrists. Again, a lot of keyboarding, right? And texting. Relax your wrists. Bring your arms down. Now keep your arms wide. We're gonna let our knees come over to the side, left or right, it doesn't matter. And then when the knees come down, let your head roll to the opposite side. So nice big spine twist here. And faces back to center, knees through the center. So imagine pressing your opposite hip down into the mat to get yourself through the middle. Over to the other side, let your knees come down carefully. Then let your head roll the opposite way. Couple breaths. And then faces back to center, knees through the middle and to the center. Okay guys, we're gonna go for some roll-ups. So I think the scissor sequence hopefully warmed up our spine, so we should be able to move pretty easily. We'll see. Let's take the arms up overhead for a stretch. Set your pelvis into neutral. So again, we've got the space between our low backs and the mat, but when we come up, we're gonna decrease that space and press our backs into the mat. So up go our arms. As we start to lower them, we connect with the underarms, bend our spines, push your backs down into the mat, and we roll forward and round over our legs. So we're gonna take a second here and feel our hips reach back behind us and feel the rest of our bodies reach forward. So I'm thinking pulling my belly in, make my low back reach behind me, upper body reach forward. Reset your spine up. Let's sit up tall here. Let the shoulders come down. Take the arms to the ceiling. Stack your hands back behind your head and rotate to the left, come through center, and rotate to the right. So if you went right first, that's okay. We're gonna just do a couple through the middle. So as you do this, try not to let your hips move. Anchor them into the mat. Twist and twist. Back to center we come. Raise your arms to the ceiling, and then we're gonna take them back to chest, shoulder height. Okay, here comes our slow roll down. Pull the belly in. Start with the pelvis. It's rolling under us. Back down we go. Placing our spines down, arms come up overhead, and here we go again. If you need to change the arm position, go ahead. Bend, squeeze together, roll up. Keep that reach, rounding your back, pulling the belly in. Sit up tall, stack your spine. Arms come up, stack them behind your head. Okay, instead of rotating this time, we're gonna do a side bend. Pick a side, it doesn't matter. Come back through center and go the other way. So I'm trying not to let my hands push my head forward, and I'm trying to keep my hips down on the mat. Sometimes I feel that opposite one come up. One more each way. Good, through center, back, lift the arms, take them to chest height in the front, and roll yourself back down. Up and over, and then go again. Arms raised. Start bending your spine, reach your arms forward, squeeze the legs. Come forward, round over the legs. And restack, sit up tall. Okay, we're gonna leave our arms out in front of us. Separate your legs about as wide as your mat. And take your arms to that same width. Shoulders come down. Okay, so imagine you're holding a balance ball, and you're just gonna twist that ball from side to side. So keep that same distance between your hands. And again, we're working on keeping our hips anchored. Twist, get, and twist. Let's go to center. Now we're gonna take our arms all the way out to our sides. So usually I say, keep them in your peripheral vision, but I want them to go in line with your shoulders, and I want you to rotate so the palms are down. And the arms are wide, and you're gonna try to keep them on a level plane, right? So from fingertip to fingertip, right through the center. And now we're gonna twist, keep your arms long, twist to the left, as far as you can go. Don't change your arms. Keep them reaching to the side. Come through the center and go the other way. Arms reach nice and long. Sit up tall. And then here we go again, reaching and lengthening through your spine. Think of a corkscrew twisting up and away. And once more left or right, it doesn't matter. Get to do both. Back to center. We're gonna bring the arms down and bring the legs together again. Okay, we're rolling ourselves back down and we're gonna do a single leg stretch sequence, squeezing together, rolling back down, and keep your arms at your sides. Slide your heels in toward your hips and bring your knees up into tabletop. Reach your arms long along the mat. Bring your chin toward your chest. Keep your arms on the mat. Flex your spine and reach really long. Now, let those arms raise up. We're going to bring our right knee in toward our chest, reaching for the shin and ankle, extending the left leg, and we're going 10 sets. 10 and 9. Keep breathing. 8. Don't lose your flexion. Okay, let's keep that right leg in. Hands go behind the head. Support your head. Here we go, 10 more. And 9. Take a break if you need it. Okay, we're gonna switch and pull the left leg in, stretch the right away. Rotate toward the left, crisscross, 10 sets. One more each leg. Okay, center it, take it down. Grab your shins, rock it out a little bit. And then bring it to the center, bring your feet to the mat. We're gonna stretch ourselves out on our sides. Support your head however you want to. You can bend that bottom arm or lay it long along the mat. Stack your hips. Press your bottom leg down into the mat. Point your top foot and raise the leg up. Find your balance here. Think of your body laying along the edge of the mat or following along the edge. A lot of times we pitch our bodies forward. See if you can straighten it out. Flex the ankle at the top, close and press. Lift, close and press it down. And 3. Now we're going to take our top leg to hip height, point it, point your bottom foot, and then we're going to lift the bottom leg up to meet the top leg. Maybe you can think of the bottom leg pushing the top leg up. Get your balance here. We're going to do a scissor sequence laying on our sides. So our top leg is going to move forward. Our bottom leg is going to move back. So you find a range that keeps you still. There'll be a little bit of rocking around. And then pull through center. One more set. Now bring your legs back together in the center. Keep them up. And from here, they're both going to lift and they're going to lower almost all the way to the mat. Stretch them to lift and slowly lower. It's like your bottom leg is pressing your top leg up. Great, and then let them come all the way down to the mat. Bend your knees in toward your chest a little bit. We're going to get the rotators in the hip. Lift your feet up and lift your top knee up. So the heels come together, they're squeezing, make your feet into a little V, push your bottom leg down, and we're going to rotate. The top knee comes down and opens up. Nice job, 2 more. Okay, we're gonna bring the knees together, bring the feet down. Now pull your knees in towards your chest. You're gonna push yourself up and we're gonna switch right over to the other side. So line your body up. Stack your hips, shoulders come away from your ears, cores are engaged. Press your bottom leg down, point your top foot, raise it up, find your balance up here. Flex and squeeze down, close the legs. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. So the muscles in the leg are active. You're not just letting it flop down or kicking as high as you can go. Okay, the top leg is going to come to hip height. Point the foot. Stretch your bottom leg up to meet the top. Find your balance, and here's our scissor sequence. Top leg comes forward, bottom leg back, and then scissor. So they're barely passing each other. Trying to stay at hip height. Hopefully mine are. Easy to tip here. Be careful. Try not to grip at your neck. I think this is 9, and 10. Legs come back to the center, and we're going to press the legs up. Let your bottom leg press the top leg up. Let them float down toward the mat. Don't let them collapse down on there, and then press back up again. Three more. Stretch to lift. Up, 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 and then all the way down. Bend your knees in toward your chest a little bit. Don't pull them all the way in. We're just kind of changing the position at the hip. Knees stay down, feet come up, and then the top knee opens up. Squeeze your heels, make a little V with your feet. Squeeze it, and then take it down, open out. So find a range that is going to challenge those little muscles in the hip and the big glutes in the back. Or maybe little. There are 3. Good, one more. Knees together, feet down. Now from here, we're going right over onto our bellies. I want you to stack your hands and let your forehead rest on your hands. Let your shoulders relax. Stretch your legs out behind you and let them be heavy down on the mat. So they can be externally rotated if you want. And just feel the bones of the pelvis on the mat. So keeping your hands stacked, let your head lift off your hands and let your chest lift up. And just keep your elbows down. So we're working into the upper back a little bit, just with a different arm position. So you can press into your hands a little bit, widen your collarbones, and lift. And then we're going to bring our heads back down to our hands. Now I want you to take your hands wide. Take your elbows and the fingertips to the mat and let your head come all the way, forehead come all the way to the mat. Spread your fingers and thumbs out. Feel your elbows reach down toward your hips. Feel the belly lift. Anchor your pubic bone and then lift the chest up. So you feel the muscles differently. When you change the arm position, I'm feeling more kind of down toward my waist, but still upper back for sure. If you feel this going into the low back, the lumbar spine too much, then just take it down or push back into child's pose, take a little break. All right, we're taking it down. So you can go back to that same position and hold that if you felt like that was some good back work for you. Or we're going to try taking it up a little higher. So the pubic bone is anchored, the belly lifts. Chest lift up, elbows stay on the mat for a second. Widen your chest, and then we're going to push into our arms and come up. Shoulders come down and lengthen. If you're in this spot, I want you to turn your head to the left and then come through center, turn it to the right, back to center, and then we're going to come back down. So elbows, and then your chest, then your forehead. We're going to do that one more time. Bellies lift, pubic bones anchor. Fingers and thumbs are spread out. Lift your chest up first. Find a spot where you can tap into that muscle group, and then continue to lift the chest. Your arms will follow. Use your hands, not a push-up. Don't get up into the shoulders. Just open the chest. My arms, I don't know, I don't think I could go straight. If you can, that's great. I don't have that much flexion in my back, or extension rather. I don't have that much room. Okay, down we go. So the elbows, and then the wrists, then your chest and forehead. Bring your legs together. Move your hands back. Push into child's pose again. So the hips go to the heels. The chest and belly come down to the legs. Take your arms way out in front. Let your shoulders scoot up near your ears. That's okay. Work on that stretch. Get a little longer. Let your inhale fill up your back. And now we'll shift our weight forward to hands and knees. Set your hands up under your shoulders, spread your fingers way out. Let your knees come under your hips. Take a second, roll your shoulders away from your ears. Use the muscles in your arms and your legs to push yourself away from the mat. Feel your core engage. We're gonna lift our feet up, flex at the ankles, and then wiggle the toes a little bit. Now scrunch up the toes and spread them way out. Scrunch them up, spread them out, scrunch them and spread them. Now tuck them under and leave them there for a second. Get a nice big stretch underneath your foot, where the toes join the foot, maybe even into the arches. I also feel this in kind of the front shin area too, if I can get them way under. Okay, so we're gonna hover our knees in a second. Spread out your fingers and thumbs. Press into your fingertips too to take some of the pressure out of your wrists. Press into your toes, let your knees hover. Shoulders are away from the ears. Let your arms do some work here. Feel your hips scoop back towards your heels, then straighten your legs. Feel your chest reach toward the legs. Imagine your head right between your arms, ears and biceps in line with each other. Lift the tailbone, get a little more stretch in those hammies. Let's raise up onto our tippy toes and then come back down to the heels. Do that again, lift and back down. One more. And heels are down. And now we're gonna walk our feet to our hands. And then let your head hang. Let it be heavy. Feel that you're creating distance between all of the vertebrae in your spine. So from the tailbone through the whole back, up the neck. We're gonna nod our heads yes here. Come on back to center. Let your head hang, let it be heavy. Now turn it side to side, no. Back to center. Okay, get your balance here. And let your legs be active. You're gonna squeeze your leg muscles. It'll help you keep your balance. Before we roll up, let's check in with our core. So we want the bellies lifting toward the spine. Round your spine as much as you can. Don't roll up yet. Just round it, round it. And now, from that rounded position, that's where we roll up. Our heads are gonna be last. So we restack our spines, bring our faces up, and then take our arms up to the ceiling. Add upper back extension. Get a nice big stretch back there. Raise your arms to the ceiling and bring them down. Roll the shoulders. All right, great class, guys. I hope you had a good experience today and that I see you next week.